past the moon, yeah. He winning. Red dreams come true. For me and you. He called me did it, yeah. With the crew. I'm talking Dan and David you. Reese and Trevor. And Alice too, just to name a few. He called me a beast, they put Disneyland in digital. I be on the VeVe, I just caught me an original. Had to trust the vision, but right now it's looking visible. He a paper hand for the spreader, so despicable. Ooh. We been going up like a missile do. Ooh. All they next moves unpredictable. Ooh. NFT flipper, why me run it up too? All these major brands on the middle boat. Ooh. IMX. Disney NFT, I invest. Hold up, I just told my baby that we blessed. We was on it early than the rest. VeVe and Disney, NFT making. Don't go to moments. Man, I got plenty. I got a goofy. By my convention. Oh, me and my wallet rocket, cause we rock with Disney.
What's up, my Omi homies and fellow NFT collectors? It's time for another Marvel comic drop, and I have a very special guest on today's live stream. We got the one and only Mr. Foster Hilt. How are you doing today, Foster?
I'm good, Chris. How you doing, man?
I'm good to go. I'm always excited when it's drop day, especially at Marvel comic drops, and we got 2 drops today. This one is Marvel Comics number 2. What's up to all my Omi homies in the chat? Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to start off the poll. I'll get a poll going to see how many people are going for this drop while Foster is talking. But for those who aren't familiar with Foster Hilt, I want you, Foster, to let them know about your VeVe journey a little bit, how you discovered VeVe. I know you're an OG. You got into it a long time ago. And also how you discovered the Omi token.
For sure, man. Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you for having me on. Thank you for reaching out. I think it was a really good idea to kind of hatch the 2 brands here and be able to have a conversation and link up with the fam. So thank you so much for reaching out to me on that. And yeah, for those guys that are in the chat right now that don't know me or who are watching this back after the fact, like Chris said, my name is Foster. I've been in the VeVe and Ecomi community since April of 2021. Oh, God. Could you imagine 2001? That'd be amazing.
Be rich.
And yeah, so I got in around that time. I found out about the project initially through Omi, which was kind of my main avenue that I was looking to pursue. I looked at it more of as an investment. Didn't really know a lot about VeVe or anything to do with the collectibles, but understood kind of the tokenomics behind the Omi token underpinning all the transactions on the VeVe app. And it just seemed really exciting at the time to know that there may be a token that would be deflationary and that could become popular just from VeVe onboarding new users. So first started with that and watched a lot of the OG content creators, watching a lot of Cavell Anderson, Taps Trades, a few others, and was enjoying learning about the token, but obviously doing a lot of research on my own as well. And then invested a little bit of money, I guess a little bit is relative, but maybe a few $1,000s into the Omi token. And then over time, as I started to do more research and learn more about the token, I effectively went, all in relative to my means, which was about $100,000 invested in the Omi token. I also did invest about $10,000 in VeVe as an app, and just because I started to really like the collectibles themselves. So it's been a really enjoyable, interesting journey. I started making content specifically kind of pertaining to Omi back in August of 2021. And since then, I've branched out a little bit into the VeVe stuff, but I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty lost in the sauce when it comes to a lot of the VeVe collectibles. I don't keep up with it regularly enough to understand kind of the day in, day out values of everything. So, primarily stick to Omi, but I do have a pretty sizable VeVe collection as well. I think I have 117 sets and maybe 500 something collectibles, and I think 100 something comics as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's well status to me. I discovered VeVe the same way as you, through the Omi tokens. And like you said, you're lost in the sauce of the collectibles. I'm lost in the sauce when it comes to the cryptocurrency. That's why I watch people like you when you put out information, not only about Omi tokens, but a lot of times guys will put out just overall market information about cryptocurrency, and it helps me learn it a little bit better, for sure. And speaking of which, if you guys are not already subscribed to Foster's YouTube channel, I have it linked in the description. I guess you've already described pretty much what your channel is about. You focus on Omi mostly, but you also have been expanding into the collectibles recently. And as you can see here, he does stuff like the future of VeVe and Ecomi. Omi will fail without this, and VeVe and Omi updates. And we're going to be talking, I know some people in the chat are talking about the Harley Quinn airdrop. Me and Foster both got that airdrop today, actually. So we're definitely going to be talking about that. But before we do, though, I want to know a little bit more about your collection, Foster. Like, what kind of stuff you focus on when you're collecting the collectibles? Are you going for the comics? Are you going for the Disney golden moments? Are you into the art? Let me know what you like most on the app.
For sure, man. So, I mean, I primarily focused at the beginning on just picking up as many sets as possible. I think I put a little bit of an overemphasis into the Master Collector program. I think that I thought that was really going to be the only avenue to reward yourself on the platform. So I really just focused on picking up as many sets as I could, which involved flipping liquidity from other collectibles to continue the collecting journey, which is actually how I ended up making this mistake with selling the Spider-Man Secret Rare when I did. I was just really focusing on picking up as many sets as possible, as often as I could,
Sure.
To try and get to, originally I think my goal was 20 sets, and then it became 50 sets, and then of course passing over 100 sets as well now. So it kind of just was a never-ending journey to try and get as many as I could. But I think recently, as of, maybe February, March, as the prices started to cool off in the market, it really showed that, either you need to focus on things that you enjoy collecting, which you don't really care if the value goes up or down, and you just purchase them because you enjoy them and love the fandom. Or if you're looking at it as an investment, you almost need to look at things that IP-wise have withstood the test of time and will likely continue to withstand the test of time. So I focused heavily on finishing all of the golden moments. So I do have all the Disney golden moments sets.
Nice.
So I have all the collectibles for the Disney golden moments. I have multiples of many of the golden moments, and I have 4 partner statues. So that was the one that kind of out of all the golden moments I focused on the most, because I just think that from all the golden moments that we've seen, it's likely to be the most valuable. And then beyond that, I have all the Batman Black and White series sets, including the Series 1. So I do have multiple Todds, and you can see a bunch of physicals behind me. And I do have a Eduardo Rizzo Batman. And then beyond that, I haven't so much focused on the designer con drops. I know that you're a fan of them, and I think based on scarcity, some of them may do well long term. But for me, I don't know enough about independent artists, and like I said, I don't keep enough up in the collectible scene to kind of be knowledgeable enough on them to decide like what is valuable and what isn't. I'll give you a perfect example. I got the Lucky Charmer Golden Labbit last year at the end of DCon. I was able to secure it on the drop, and it went up to like $4,000 at one point, and now, gosh, I don't even know what it is. We're probably lucky if it's 2 or 3x retail, and that only had 999 editions. So it really goes to show that scarcity in and of itself is not necessarily a catalyst to contrive value in things. So for me, like I said, I focus mostly on the collectibles and ones that I've heard of before I came into the platform, and I'm kind of a boomer that way. So if I've heard of it, chances are it's probably mainstream and is going to do well. So that's kind of where I stay in my comfort zone when it comes to collectibles. And then for comic books, I don't so much focus on the comics because once again, similarly to the collectibles, I really don't have a knowledge base on them. And I'll listen a lot to Sleeping Comics or Comics and Crypto, who are very knowledgeable when it comes to comic books. And generally, if they're like, if the consensus with both of them is, hey, this comic's going to be valuable, then maybe I put some focus on it. But other than that, I really don't focus on the comics too much, because once again, the Marvel library alone, you could produce comics for the next, 5-10 years, 2 or 3 times a week, and you still wouldn't run out. So, not everything is going to be valuable, especially as those edition counts start to increase with an increased user base, which is likely to happen over time. So, I enjoy the things that I can. And yeah, I've enjoyed the collecting so far, but my biggest issue is I sold too early and then I didn't sell at all. So, you're going to have to find a balance of that when prices start to go up again, but it's been enjoyable so far.
Yeah, it's hard to find anybody who's made nothing but good moves with the market going up and down the way it has.
For sure.
And that whole argument between IP and scarcity has been up and down. I've kind of went back and forth on it. G Money says scarcity is dead now. I mean, some of those scarce items that I collected are starting to lose a lot of value. Pop Life Art and Electric Lola. But luckily, I was flipping those. I was always buying and selling those, and they did really well for me because of the really thin floors they would pump whenever there was not many on the market. But then I fell in love with some of them, like Cat Bronson and Electric Lola, and I had to hold on to those. So I got into a lot of them because of the scarcity, but I loved them, and you know, you collect what you like. So sometimes I don't even mind the prices going down. Like my Aston Martin
Yeah.
is way down from what I bought it from, but it's my favorite NFT, so I really don't care that much at all. And I've always said that, yeah, you guys need to get those Disney golden moments. I still haven't got them yet. I'm waiting for the bottom, but nobody knows really where the bottom is. I mean, it's hard to even guess or predict, but if you're waiting for the bottom on the Disney golden moments, by the way the market's going right now, Foster, when do you think that is?
Oh man, it's so difficult to say because I feel like there's
I
so
know.
many macro catalysts that pop up that you think that we're starting to do a trend reversal, or you think that things that are starting to recover, and then a piece of legislation will come out, or FUD will come out about against Bitcoin, and it really is interesting to see. I really thought that VeVe would be a little bit more insulated from kind of macroeconomics than it is currently. We noticed that when cryptocurrency is down, VeVe also seems to be down, and I think that what we saw in January was obviously not a genuine pump, but
Right.
it was kind of easy to lull ourselves into a false sense of complacency where we were like, hey, everything is valuable, everything's going to go up forever. But, then you realize that, there was some fraudulent activity going on. There was people buying gems for cheaper, and you realize that maybe the true valuations for things weren't maybe where they were. And so I look back on things and like when I had 2 wallets and, they went up to $50,000 and I didn't sell any of them, like either of them. And now they're like 3,500. And it's like, you do kick yourself a little bit. It's like, oh man, imagine if I hadn't, and I think it does, it does probably kick myself a little bit being like people always say it anyway. So like an eternal VeVe maxi, I think people think that I can never see any wrong with the project, or like the project is perfect and doesn't have any issues, which couldn't be further from the truth. There's a ton of issues with the project, and there's a tons of things that they need to improve on and make better. I choose not to focus on those publicly because I don't see the benefit of me just kind of making every social media post being like, hey, this is shit, or hey, this doesn't work, or whatever. Like people already know that. Like I don't see what benefit that provides people. So just because I don't focus on it doesn't mean that I'm not cognizant of the fact that it exists. So I think for me, it's it's taught me that you can be bullish on something, but you can also be realistic about taking profit and being balanced when it comes to making decisions for yourself as well. And I think you can probably relate to this as well. Like it can be difficult when you're bullish about something, but you also want to make some money on something because like you said with Cap Bronson as an example, like similarly to how Randy Chavez probably feels about his alligator Lokis, like kind of hard to justify selling them at this point because you've been bullish about it for so long and you're like, hey, this is probably a good time to sell, but oh, if I sell, is everyone then I feel the same way about Walt. Like I've always been a very and I own 4 of them now, so it's unrealistic to expect that I'll never take profit on them. But I feel like even if I took profit on one at like 20K, people are going to be like, oh, he's fudding Walt, he's selling it, Walt's going to zero. And so it's an interesting balance and perspective. So I feel like you kind of, yeah, it's a tough balance sometimes, and I definitely do struggle with it. I'm sure everyone does, but yeah.
Absolutely. Dane K is telling me 2 minutes for a poster. What are you talking about, Dane K? I feel like I'm missing something. You're telling me not to miss it, and I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let me catch up with the chat real quick, Foster. I know one of my homies, Ayurveda, has just joined the Omi Homie crew. Thank you, my man, for signing up for being a member. I appreciate you very much. All the Omi homies are in the chat. I see you, Random Hero. I see you, G Money. Tucson Collectibles is in here. I'm trying not to read your comments. He's a little bit of a bear. What's up, Firefly Odyssey? Adam, BV3's in the house. English still talking trash about this drop. Bro, it's not that bad of a drop. Let's talk about this comic a little bit. It's Marvel Zombies #2, and Marvel Zombies #1 definitely outperformed a lot of people's expectations yesterday. Let's go check the price of that real quick, and then we'll look at the price predictions. Foster, I usually do price predictions. I let everybody in my Discord server go ahead and put their predictions on what they think the prices will be 24 hours after the drop. So we usually go through those, see who the most accurate person is. It used to be me, but not this month. I've been too bullish. All right, secret rares are at 120 from yesterday's drop, and then it goes straight to 135, so not too bad. 2780 on the ultra rares. Rares are at 1220, and the uncommons are at 705, and the commons 575. They were at like 699. The one I sniped yesterday for 4, I sold it back for 698, but they have dropped from there. I guess people are saving up gems for the upcoming drops. And then we'll get into those price predictions. We'll see what people are thinking. Yeah, I think this is a 10,000 edition drop, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 10,000 editions.
Nice.
And man, if you remember, 10,000 edition comics used to do really well because everything else used to be 30,000. 10,000 were even hard to get on the drop. But
For
yesterday
sure.
I was able to get 5 of them. So
I remember when the 30,000s used to sell out immediately, and you'd be sitting there and you'd be wondering if you were going to get a 30,000 or not. So it's really interesting to see how things have changed, and also I think, and this is part of yes, there's macro factors that are leading to less people buying, but I think you also got to give VeVe credit where credit is due. Bots in the last week or so maybe have made a resurgence a bit, but for a while they were really hammering down on those bots, and so it really goes to show that they're making efforts and to try and resolve it. Could they probably do more? Definitely, and it's going to be an ongoing struggle, but I was glad to see that a little bit of a reversal on that, to see that actual users are being able to secure collectibles.
And I like that they're adjusting these edition sizes to smaller edition sizes to give the collectibles more value, especially on stuff like AF-15. I like that a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
We're going to go through some price predictions on this drop. Looks like G Meadows is around the same prices as me. He's got 4 on the common, 415 on the uncommon. Let me go back and see what Dan K was saying that I was missing, because I feel like I just missed something. 1923 poster, 30 seconds. Oh, he was telling me about that there was an auction going on for a Disney poster that I collect, the Disney Paris posters, and it was serial number 1923. No. And I don't think anybody realized that was the serial number. That was the year that Disney opened, and I missed it. I wonder how much. Let me know how much that sold for, Dan K. I was gonna try to snipe that off the market, but I forgot.
Oh no!
He was right. I did.
Well, at least you got the fam looking out for you.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That they were looking out for 60 gems. That's a snipe. Whoever got that. All right, here's my predictions for today's comic. It is 10K edition, so it's not like super low. I got 5 on the common, but I do got the uncommon under the common today because it's a black and white version of the common. I got the uncommon at 4, rares at 11, ultra rares at 29, secret rares at 99, and we do have this really cool Mr. Bones Decon drop coming today, later on today as well. We'll go through a few more of our more accurate predictors. We got Dane K at 2.19 on the common, 3 on the uncommon, 770 on the rare, about 19 on the ultra rare, 62 on the secret rare with only 250 editions. I'll be surprised if it goes that low. Phantasm's got 75 on the secret wood. Selwood's got 111. Obo's got 5, 4.5, 10, 22, and 95. And Fire Nint's got 5, 5, 9, 25, and 85. If you guys want to check the predictions yourself, you can check them in the price predictions channel of the Discord server. And after the drop, we'll go in and check the prices for yesterday's comic. We always mark those in the price predictions channel 24 hours after the drop. And then we give out points to the people who were the most accurate predictors. All right, let me get everything pulled back up. We got 11 minutes before the drop begins. Foster, are you going for this drop?
I'm going to go for the drop, but I'm honestly only going for the drop because we have a little bit of a friendly competition going on. I don't know if you want to tell the people watching what our competition is.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned that yet. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet, but we do have a competition going, a friendly competition between me and Foster. We're both going to go for the drop, and whoever gets the lowest serial number wins. And the winner's Twitter followers gets to pick the PFP that the loser has to sport on their Twitter for 24 hours. So if you guys have any good suggestions about what Foster's PFP should be after I win, or what my PFP should be if he was to win, let us know. And I don't know if we'll do a vote or something and let you guys pick. Let's go. All right, so let's check some chat messages. If you guys have any questions for Foster as well, there's a few more things we want to get to, like DC Comics. We got 10 more minutes. J May's talking about the bots and says they have consolidated and been smart, only going for Grail or super limited drops. Do you think that's you think that's an accurate thing to say, that the bots aren't really gone, they're just being more selective about what they go for? Because they definitely got that first decon drop, but they didn't quite go for that second decon drop necessarily.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's some merit to that statement. As metadata starts to become more publicly available, I think we're going to start to see the metadata hunters, the Pyromaniacs of the world, and a few others, Bravos Assassin, and people like that really keeping track and tabs on kind of what's happening with people's accounts. And we definitely are seeing a pattern with how these botters are consolidating their accounts. I've actually had some conversations with some of these guys, and I'm not going to mention how they do it publicly because I don't want to give anyone that may be watching this any ideas, but they definitely have a good way of being able to track these movements. It's just whether or not VeVe is able to take action against these individuals in time. So we'll have to see and continue to monitor that, but I do think that there is merit in a lot of people that had previous accounts that were signed up, or botted accounts, or accounts that have a small amount of gems on them that have remained dormant for quite a while since the KYC process. And then out of nowhere, you'll see a lot of these accounts kind of all at once become active for a bigger drop, such as the Miles Morales, kind of out of nowhere. So,
right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they continue to combat this. But I do think that mechanisms like the queue system as well as MCP coming into effect will likely have an additional impact. I don't know that we'll ever get to a situation where we've fully rid the platform of bots. I think that that's an unrealistic expectation to have. I think major, Fortune 500 companies like Nike even have had very difficult time combating bots even throughout the years, and they have far more resources than VeVe does. So I think the expectation should probably be that bots will always be here to an extent. But I think if you have, like I said, the queue system, and you have the master collector program, and there's a way to kind of work in rewarding users who have already been collecting, who have been established. And it doesn't have to be, and when I say this, sometimes people think that I'm saying like, oh, only the rich people should get collectibles. But I want to make it very clear, like that's the exact opposite of what I'm saying. Like, you'll be able to earn points through in-app activity for free. So by liking other people's posts, by visiting other people's vaults, by commenting on other people's stuff, like you'll be able to earn points that way as well. So it's just really going to encourage people that are actually on the platform utilizing it for its intended purpose, rather than all these accounts that remain dormant for 6 months and then pop up out of nowhere, and because they're using nefarious means are able to secure collectibles. So.
Yeah, and MCP points, you don't want to give everything. You don't want the rich to get all the good rewards, so that's why they have a 6-month shelf life. And I don't know if you saw my tweet about this, Foster. It was one of my subscribers sent me this DM, and I've never heard anybody else mention this before. But when he tried to cash out, he got a new feature, and he got an email saying that he was whitelisted into this new feature for VeVe, where you have to scan your face to cash out. Now that's going to be able to prevent some of the bots, right? Have you heard anything else about that?
No, so I actually saw you retweet it, and I believe I retweeted it as well, because I think it was fantastic news. I think that one of the benefits of that is that it adds that additional layer. So for people that don't realize, what essentially is happening with KYC accounts is in areas where the US dollar is far stronger. So in some third world countries, or in some countries where it's harder for people to find work, what people are doing is that they're essentially using people's identification to create KYC accounts, right. And then they're selling those KYC accounts for as little as $25 to people. So and remember, the $25 maybe for you that's too much effort, but for someone else, like $25 might be a half a month's wages, right? So there's definitely a lot of money in it for these individuals that are doing this, and then they're able to take those accounts and once they're verified, you really only have to verify once. So they're able to do that. And then especially when crypto cash out was available, you're able to cash out to a wallet that's not KYC'd and not identified to anyone. And then you've basically just committed fraud, right? Because you can get out, you can money launder, you can do whatever you want. And of course, VeVe needs to make sure that they're operating in the most regulatory and legally compliant manner as possible. So they need to make sure that they kind of really put their foot down on addressing these concerns. So with what Chris is referencing, the benefit of having that secondary layer of Face ID is that you need someone there in the moment when it's being cashed out to actually verify that account belongs to the original person that uploaded that face. Now, there are, and I've heard that there's databases or software that will actually allow you to circumvent this 2FA facial scan. Oh, no. Apparently, I don't know if they're using like AI or what they're doing, but you're actually able to have your face uploaded to deal with this. But once again, it's never going to be 100%. You're never going to have a bot on the platform, but I think the goal should be to impose as many barriers to botters that do not take away from the experience of the user. And what I mean by that is, if you add in too many layers of protection that make it impossible for anyone to use it, then no one's going to use the platform. But if you're able to impose some measures where, okay, maybe it's a little bit inconvenient to have to scan your face, but realistically it's an extra 3 seconds, okay, whatever, like perfect. But for botters, it involves having to spend more money, spend more time, spend more resources. Like, if we can find that balance of kind of having that, I think that'll be really good with combating these issues, along with, like I said, the MCP and some of the other features. So.
Yeah, it's all about that balance. We had to sacrifice a little bit by getting rid of transfers, but it helps to get rid of the bots. And if it helps to get rid of the bots, then it keeps the value of our NFTs that we own up, and that's a good thing. Let's check the poll for today on how many boxes people are going for. We got 30% of the chat say they're skipping this drop. 35% say they're going to buy one. I was thinking about going for one, but I'm actually going for 3 today. That's my plan. 15% say they're going for 2, and we got 20% going for 3 or more. 4 minutes and 30 seconds before the drop begins. Are you pretty successful on going for drops, Foster? Do you get the big ones? Did you get the MAUs? Did you get the AF-15?
So I'm pretty lucky on going for drops. I was able to get the rare AF-15. For the miles, I got the ultra rare, the one that has 1,000 editions. So I'm fairly lucky. And to be honest with you, it's mostly because I have really good internet up in Canada. So I'm pretty lucky when it comes to that. Like I think on wireless, I'll get like 600 megabits download and like 400 megabits upload. So like my internet's pretty unreal, and I got like a 3 millisecond ping. Now I'm in my basement right now, and my router's on the main floor. And normally I do the drop like kind of directly in front of my router, so I'm not sure what impact that'll have, if anything, on the drop itself. But I'll even just. Sorry, go ahead.
What kind of device do you use to go for these?
So I have an iPhone 13.
Okay, yeah, those are pretty powerful.
But just out of curiosity, I'm going to do a speed test down in my basement right now so that you guys can see.
Let us know your ping. Always check people's ping. You want the lowest ping possible.
Yeah, so my ping right now is 6 milliseconds.
That's pretty low. I guess you said
and my jitter's 3 milliseconds. So that's really not that bad considering that my router's on a completely different floor. Like, you know, it doesn't. That's really not too bad. So I'm pretty lucky when it comes to that, especially in the beginning. That's how I was able to still kind of secure drops when I haven't been able to previously, when others aren't having luck. But like 309 down, 113 up, and 6 millisecond ping. So yeah, I'm just really lucky to have good internet here, so it makes it a little bit easier to secure the drop.
Yeah, and a good device too. I think you'll be able to get as many as you want today. I was able to get 4 yesterday before it sold out. Then I got a 5th one on the rebound. So I think I'm going to go for 3 today. I'm going to use the old quick gate. That's the plan for anybody that's asking what technique to use. I go with timing on the comics as well. So I'll be clicking the button 1 second after the timer hits 0. Ryan says his ping is 45. Bro, you might not get one today. That's pretty high. I had a question for you in here if I can go back and find it. I can maybe remember what he said. He was asking if you know what's going to happen to the NFTs that were taken away from like bot accounts. Are they going to get burnt? Or are we ever going to know how many NFTs on VeVe or how many editions of an NFT have been burnt? Is that part of the metadata?
So when we look at how many editions have been burnt, yeah, you'll be able to see that in the metadata. So essentially, there'll be kind of 2 lines of code. It'll be the max amount of editions minted, and then the editions available. And so I don't know if it'll be called editions available, but it'll essentially be that. And the edition available will kind of be the equivalent of what would be a circulating supply of collectibles. So that won't necessarily show accounts that, you know, haven't logged in 6 months or 12 months, but you know, collectibles or comics that have actually been burnt. We'll be able to see that. And there's actually right now you can see in the VeVe wallet. There's like a burn wallet. You can see kind of all the Captain America commons and everything that have been burnt, and you're able to kind of see all of that stuff. So
you can actually find it if you just do the research yourself once all that metadata gets listed onto IMX. And I know that on NBA Top Shot, they have a feature now whenever you go into one of the NFTs that you own, it'll show on there how many are burnt. So I'm wondering if it's going to be just like that, where it's just some of the metadata that you can look up.
I hope that it's clean and easy to discern for the average user. Like, I hope that they don't make it really difficult and convoluted. Like, I hope that it's just, you know, you see one number and then it's like, this is the amount that's available. And it's like, you know, it works out well. So.
Yep. All right, guys, it's drop time. We got 40 seconds. Good luck, everybody, going for this one. Like I said, I'm going for 3. I'm using timing on the first one. I'll quick gate the last 2, and I'll wait for the my serial number on the 3rd one. But me and Foster's competition, we're just going to go with our first deliveries. Whatever you get delivered first, Foster, and whatever I get delivered first. Whoever.
Okay, so am I just buying one box and then showing you the green box delivery screen, or are we just going for as many?
Let's do that. It'll be easier. That way it's clean.
Yeah, let's do that, and then if you're able to buy more, you're able to buy more.
Sounds good. I'll do that.
All right, and also, guys, for the record, there's only about 10 seconds left, but if one of us gets one and the other one doesn't, then the one that got one automatically wins.
Of course, yes. All right, here we go, guys. Good luck. 3, 2, 1, and click. We're in there. We got that first one. I'm gonna wait for my green truck, hoping for that serial number 186 on this one.
Yeah, I'm nervous, man. I got one too. We'll see what happens.
Nice. Good luck.
Oh God, don't be 4-digit. Don't be 4-digit.
Need that 3-digit today. Got some W's in the chat. Ryan got one. Looks like about 30% said they were going for this one. I need that secret rare today. I got 3 commons and 2 uncommons yesterday. Gamer Skice with the dub. What's up, BBT in the chat? Lassie got 3 of them.
It's processing. It's making me nervous.
Mine's still processing too. Ronnie got 3. Johnny King got 3.
What does it mean?
Apparently it's not sold out yet.
Oh, you probably beat me.
I don't know. I got a pretty high number. What are you at?
No.
I'm really high. 6029 over here.
You beat me. No way. I got 6622.
Oh, it was close. It was super close.
Oh, dang. VeVe doing me dirty. So much for favoritism. Damn.
I gotta get a let's go for that one. So that means my Twitter followers get to decide what PFP Foster has to wear on his Twitter account for 24 hours. What do you guys think it should be? I was thinking like a Foster's beer can might be a good one.
Yeah, we talked about this beforehand. I don't really care what it is as long as it's not like disrespectful or like inappropriate, right? Because I don't want to get banned off Twitter. But whatever it is, I'll take my licks. And
perfect. All right, guys, this did sell out, so I'm gonna pull up the clock. I'm gonna link it in the chat. It's linked in the description. If you guys want to go for a rebound, I'm gonna try to get a second one on the rebound at the 4-minute mark. You want to stay on that page. If you back out of the page or refresh, you'll lose your buy now button. So if you guys still have your buy now button up, get your clocks ready at 3 minutes and 59.5 seconds. We'll try to click in and get another rebound like we did yesterday.
I want to see if you guys can get the rebound.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily sure that all of these are going to go above retail, but I think the rare, the ultra rare, and the secret rare should be fine. So it might be worth the gamble. I mean, if you're only gambling 2 or 3 gems, the common's only going to be, 4 to 5 gems. It's not much of a gamble. Random Hero got a W. Kurazami got 6 of them. I thought the limit was 5. You must have more than one device. BBT got 3. Trevor Ung got 3. Simo with a 3-digit. Congratulations. Evan Tepper got 5 of them. Dr. Strange got 2. C-Spell says, are we playing any games or giveaways today? Not today, but we might on the later stream. We got another stream coming up today. BBN3 got a 3-digit. Congratulations. Yoda Soldier with a dub. Terry Ken got one. Have him wear I love VeVe Vault PFP. Ooh, I like that one. I love VeVe Vault PFP. Somebody needs to design that for me. That might be a good one. Splint with number 667. That's a good serial number. DJ Tico got a 5 comics, and his 5th one is a 3-digit. Daniel D got 2. Pixel Pudding got 5. Congratulations, all the W's in the chat. Thank you, Random Hero. Appreciate you, bro. He's got the Aston Martin badge. He's been a member for over a year. My homie. Cray Mountain got 1. Go Chris got 2. See Me Back got 1. 4-digit. Crypto NFW got 3. And it's about time to go for the rebound, guys. So if you're going to be going for the rebound, the plan here is to click in a half a second before the 4-minute mark. And you want to make it a quick click. You don't want to click slow. You don't want to like press and hold. You want to do a really fast, quick click. At the
what is that? You always used like a website to do like didn't you use a website to use like a half tick that like it would calculate like the 0.5 second mark or something? Was that you that?
Yeah, the one I use here, and I know Taps uses it on his stream as well. That's the one I just linked in the chat. I got it pulled up on my screen. You can do beats per minute or beats per second, and I think Greedy One does it, and he has a certain one that he likes, but I don't do those. I just go with the timing. I've been, it's kind of like trial and error because everybody's device and internet combo has a different amount of lag. So for me, 359.5 seems to work well on the rebounds. For people with faster lag like yourself, you might want to wait till exactly at that 4-minute mark. All right, here we go. Good luck, guys. Try to get one more today. Oh, not today. I was not able to get one. These sold out all right. Yeah, there's Gritty. He says he used 120 beats per minute. Super slow deliveries today. There were delivery slow yesterday as well. Bruin88 says costume someone asked. I'm not sure what you mean. Vault. Weekonway says, Vault, you got that link for Palm Studio drop. Yeah, we need to get into that for sure. We need to get into this market for a little bit. I got the link right here for you, but we are going to talk about the DC Comics drop coming up. Looks like we got a lot of rebounds in the chat. You guys were able to get it. No problem. Did you go for the rebound, Foster?
I didn't, but I see a lot of people also saying not sold out. So I wonder, was it maybe not sold out, or did it show up as sold out for you? I only got the one, and then I stopped watching. So
yeah, after I got the one, I clicked buy now. It said sold out. Apparently, it's not sold out now. No, I guess it's not sold out now. I was able to get a second one. Interesting, because when I went for the rebound, it said sold out. Interesting. Yeah. So at 4 minutes, it populated all of them back in there. I guess people aren't buying. A lot of people clicked reserve when the drop began and decided not to go all the way through with the reservation, apparently. We're going to get into the market and see what these prices look like. I'll go ahead and quick gate this one and X out, wait for my delivery, because we don't want to sit there and wait for the green truck since it doesn't even tell us our rarity. But we will get in here and look at these comic prices and see how this one is doing. We got 8 secret rares listed so far, already down to 90 gems. Ultra rares at 25. The rare is at 8 gems, and then it goes straight to 10. Uncommon is at 420, and then the common is already under 4 gems. If you're gonna snipe these today off the market, I mean 250 to 2 gems is where I'd be, maybe even under 2 gems, is because I don't know if they're gonna pump back up. People know that three more comics are dropping, and then 3 more decon drops, and hopefully a Chucky drop. I'm thinking we might get a Child's Play drop, because David, you've been teasing that a little bit.
He has been teasing it quite a bit. You know what I should have done? We should have parlayed rarity with edition number. I messed up. No,
did you get a secret rare or something?
Oh no, I didn't. I'm waiting to see when it's delivered, but I was like, that's what we should have done.
I got my delivery.
You beat me. You beat me fair and square. Oh, that hurts.
Well, mine was a common, if it makes you feel any better. Mine was a common.
Was it? Yeah, mine's not delivered yet. So.
And then I did get that second one, so I'm going to wait for my second delivery. Maybe I'll do better on that one. I think I'll stop at 2 today, though. Usually on those rebounds, they're the last ones to be delivered, so it's probably going to be a while before that one gets sent to me. DJ Tico says, what should I price my number 323? Congratulations on that low serial number. I mean, if you're quick enough, maybe you can get 50 to 75 for it. I would start off high, though. VeVe3 says, my buy now is up right now, and I could buy something weird with this. Yeah, apparently they did not sell out. Enough people did not secure their reservations when the drop began, so that so many went back on the market at 4 minutes that they all didn't get bought back for rebounds. Crypto NFW says, sold my uncommon for $10 at number 534. I think you could have got more for it, bro. I could be wrong. Then says, what's the lowest mint available? Number 186 on 10K edition drops. All right, let's talk about this DC Comics drop a little bit. I do have a gate already. I don't know if it's going to work, but I came up with a gate for going for this drop. Let me know a little bit, Foster, about your history with DC Bat Cows. Do you own a Bat Cow? Do you own a Harley Quinn?
Yeah, so I actually purchased 3 Bat Cows when they first came out. And it's funny. When they were first coming out, I was doing a little bit of research back on them back in May, and I was kind of on the fence about it. I wasn't sure if I was going to mint them or not. Them being 200,000 editions at the time, which was what their intention was, I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous at $300. Like, this isn't remotely worth this at all. Like, this is kind of silly that they even remotely thought that this was a good idea. So I researched them a little bit based kind of on that alone. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it for me. So didn't really focus on them too much, and then started seeing some of the other content creators that I follow starting to talk about them and starting to get excited about them, and kind of people that keep up more with the lore of kind of DC and what they've been working on, as well as just Palm as a platform. And so I figured I'd give it a second chance. I actually put out a community pool about 3 days or 2 days before, or actually it might even have been the day of. I took a screenshot of it the other day. I can't remember when it was exactly, but and I realized, should I mint this? Should I not mint this? Because at the time, I think there was only like 8,000 that had been minted out of the 200,000. And I was like, you know what? Like, maybe this is a scarcity play a little bit. Because like they have a 2-year roadmap. They're planning on delivering on things every 52 days. Like, maybe I take a gamble on this. And I knew that it was a good idea when I put out a poll, and 70% of the people that voted said not to mint. They said pass. And I was like, you know what? If 7 out of 10 people are saying this is a bad idea, this is definitely undervalued, because it's not where the hype is right now. So I actually minted 3 of them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. We're going to see what happens. So minted 3 of them, and probably one of the best decisions that I've made kind of in Web3 and crypto so far, in a bear market, holding up, almost 2x above retail, all the airdrops and everything that they're doing. The community is solid. They kind of remind me of the VeVe fam a lot, maybe because a lot of them are VeVe fam, but they're very passionate about the project. I actually had a couple people yesterday when I put out a tweet saying that I was excited about Palm doing big things. People were trash talking me because I wasn't allowed to talk about it because I don't talk about it often. And I'm like, where's the rationale in this? I don't talk about it often because this is the response I get. But no, I think it's a great project, and I think that it's got a lot of legs to run on. I think Matt Mason and the whole kind of Palm NFT team are doing great things, really rewarding their collectors. I think that VeVe could probably learn a thing or two from them when it comes to airdrops and really giving back to the community who are supporting them. So we'll see how things continue to roll out, but definitely happy to be a part of the Bat Cowl fam and happy to be holding my cows. I did list them all recently for kind of different price points, like above what I think that they'd sell for. And that way, if one of them sells, then I've made more than made back my entire initial investment plus made profit. And then I'll just unlist the other 2. But we'll see kind of what happens with that. I'm not expecting them to sell because, like I said, there are quite a ways above floor. Not going to say what, because I don't want to pump them, but we'll see if that happens. And Because like I said, similar to the VeVe where I didn't take any profit ever, I should probably take some profit in some stuff now. So we'll see what happens with that. And but yeah, I'm really excited about the utility. Obviously, was able to secure the Harley Quinn airdrop today. I believe I got a rare comic, and I also got a rare airdrop as well. I don't know about you, but did you get similar?
Yeah, apparently the airdrops matched whichever the Harley Quinn you got out of the box, and since I got a common, so common gang for life, just like VeVe. But that's fine because it was really cool, and I didn't expect to get this airdrop, and it is a comic. It's Harley Quinn #1. I kind of wonder how many grails does DC have? You got Batman first appearance, Superman first appearance, Harley Quinn first appearance. They're already through a couple of them. I mean, they're not like Marvel. They don't have 100 different characters that everybody knows. They have 4 or 5 of them. So I do kind of worry about that. But I mean, it's definitely one that I missed out on. I was the same as you. I was like, are they really going to mint that many editions? And of course they didn't. And it was 300, which is kind of expensive for me. So I did skip it. I was wrong. That's one that I missed for sure. These poor Bat Cow holders are getting spoiled. That's what I told them earlier in their Discord server. They just keep getting them airdrops and stuff. But now I'm a part of the fam, so it's all good. And they do have that drop coming up. What we're talking about is a lot of people are asking, where's the button going to pop up? How do we get the drop? Nobody really knows for sure. I've been getting a lot of information in the Discord server about it. Apparently, you're going to need to be on this page, not the marketplace. They did say something about a market recently, and then he specified that marketplace and market are 2 different words. You need to be on the home page. And I was saying yesterday that we're probably going to be sitting here in an F5 to refresh, but if you look at how long that takes to refresh, I got your gate, y'all. It's called Logo Gate. Click on the logo and see how fast these refreshes are. We're going to be able to refresh a lot faster by clicking on these logos. So my plan here is to be on this page at the time of the drop, of course, a couple minutes early. Click onto this, try to get into that queue as soon as possible. It's going to be a queue-style drop. Only 3,000 editions. Only 9.99 gems. I was going to say gems. $9.99. Too much VeVe on the head. It's only $10 to mint. So that's the plan, y'all. It's tomorrow. I do plan on live streaming that drop. We're gonna go through it together. We're gonna try to mint. I think it's gonna be tough to get though because there's only 3,000 editions. You plan on going for it, right?
Oh, I'm definitely gonna go for it, but I agree with you as well. I think it's gonna be very difficult, and I will say, and it's funny. Like all the respect to them. Like I love that they're confident, but I just love seeing Matt come up with statements like, "We're ready for the bots." It's like you're not ready for the bots.
I saw that. They were like,
no one's ready for the bots because the second you say that, you've already lost, in my opinion. Like it's just, I don't know how you can make a statement like that. It almost worries me a little bit that they're that confident because it's like if you're confident, you don't need to say anything. You let the results speak for themselves. So. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but I do think bots will be fairly prevalent there. It is nice that you have to be KYC'd in order to go for the drop, so that may mitigate it a bit. I know some people have had issues with being able to KYC their accounts, so that may play a role as well. We also don't know if they have anything built into the back end where maybe it's not actually a 1-to-1 chance. Like maybe maybe if you own a back cow or whatever, maybe they have an algorithm built in that gives you a higher chance. I have no idea, but I just if it is just straight like first come first serve, the bots are gonna feast for sure. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, fingers crossed that people in the chat are able to secure. I think that this is going to be one that is going to be extremely valuable long term. I think the first appearance of Superman on the blockchain for this comic is going to be extremely valuable. We saw what AF15 did, especially on the first day, the secret rare variant. Selling for upwards of $15,000 to $20,000. And this has, only 150 mints versus the 250 that the Secret Rare has. I think their top tier is Legendary, I think it's called. So, if you're able to pick one up, definitely do it. I might be looking to snipe in the secondary market. I think people may not realize the value of what they have, similarly to kind of Marvel Comics #1 on VeVe, where people were selling the common for $2 afterwards, not realizing, what the value was in that. I've learned my lesson from that, and I'm not going to miss out on it twice. So I may look at picking up some of the additions there, depending on the price.
Oh, there's actually one thing you said there that's not quite true because we were in that Discord server talking to them today, and there's a little bit of confusion about it. You actually don't have to KYC to go for the drop.
Oh.
Yeah. Anybody?
I don't like that.
I know, I don't either. I asked them, are you going to be able to, are you going to make them KYC in the future, hopefully? And also, it's not specific to any type of country. If you can access the website, then you can go for the drop. And I know a lot of people were getting their accounts disabled or locked, pretty much locked whenever they KYC. Nobody's sure why. And they do say that you cannot go for the drop if you are locked. I mean, you can go for it, but you won't be able to buy it if your account's locked. But they also said that they will get you unlocked before the drop if you put in a support ticket in their Discord server, not necessarily on their website. They're monitoring their Discord server. So if you guys are one of the people that were locked, I know a lot of people had that issue. Make sure you go into the DC NFTs Discord server. I'll link it in the description, in the chat, so you guys can join and put in a support ticket that way so that you get unlocked before tomorrow's drop. I know a lot of people are dropped for like, I think Hello K's been locked out of his BatCal account.
Yeah, he was locked out for like a month, I think.
Yeah.
He was, so, oh, interesting. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do it that way. Big J says you only need the KYC to sell in the market, so bots will get most and a few will be listed. I don't like that, especially with 3,000 additions.
Well, so then I guess conceivably, what stops you from opening? Well, I guess you can only use one computer. You only have one click. But I was going to say, like, you could just open up multiple tabs. I mean, obviously, you could run an auto clicker or something, which I definitely wouldn't recommend unless you want to get banned. But yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I know somebody said in their Discord server also today that they were creating a second account, and they were like, why isn't my second account not working? And they're like, you're not supposed to have more than one account. So it sounds like
that would do it.
It's kind of tough to get more than one account. So don't try to multi-account. It looks like this one is still not sold out despite being a 10,000 edition. It keeps popping back up at every 4-minute mark for the rebound, but then it goes back to sold out. So a lot of people are reserving and not completing it. Let's see how many are left to be delivered. Still over 50% left to be delivered. Floor price is at 3 gems on the commons. I'm still not buying at that price unless it's a great serial number. I might get into it at like 2 gems or less. Okay, it's one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Foster, and I know you've mentioned this a little bit on your Twitter recently, and some people have been DMing me asking me about them, and it's these Reddit NFTs that are taking over the world these days. I know they're not called NFTs, they're called digital collectibles. Can you give us a little insight on what you know about the Reddit NFTs? Why are they so popular? Is it just that a crazy community going wild and they have like over a million wallets or something? What do you know about them?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about them. I haven't done a ton of research into it. I've just found it fascinating, kind of the rhetoric and shift in narrative when it's come to digital collectibles. And I've put out a couple tweets to that effect. VeVe's been really pushing the digital collectible trend for a few years now, and it's really interesting to see that all of these other platforms that have focused on digital collectibles are not real NFTs. This is ridiculous. Like, an NFT isn't an NFT. And it really goes to show the lack of education kind of in the space as a whole. The fact that people don't even understand that, like, a non-fungible token is just a smart contract, and that, you can hold the smart contract, but the mutable metadata can be edited at any point. So, like, I'll give you guys a perfect example. Like, even if you stored your NFT from VeVe, because digital collectibles on VeVe are NFTs. So if interoperability came to VeVe as a platform, you could store your non-fungible token on, let's say, your MetaMask or your Ledger. So that way you've stored the token, which is just really the digital contract or address that basically says you own something. And then you want to use that item. Well, the actual asset associated to that item is on VeVe. It lives on VeVe. VeVe owns the asset. The contract gives you access or the ability to use said asset on VeVe. So people are always saying, like, oh, this is what NFTs are. This is not a real, digital collectibles are not real NFTs, but they really don't understand the premise or the concept of what an NFT is. So it's just interesting to see kind of this Reddit narrative come out now, where Reddit has historically been against NFTs. They think it's a scam. They think whatever. And then out of nowhere, this shift has happened where Reddit is now offering digital avatars or a digital collectible that you own and can prove ownership of, which is an NFT. And now out of nowhere, everyone really wants to get their hands on these digital collectibles, these avatars. I guess the utility of them being that you can, identify yourself uniquely on the platform, which is, we've seen it with Bored Apes and other one-of-one generative projects where, you have your own individual or unique identity, which is fantastic. But it's just really interesting to see now kind of how this narrative has flipped almost immediately. And now all of these Web3 content creators are hopping on this bandwagon as well, where, NFTs are no longer known as NFTs. They're known as digital collectibles. You know, guys get on board, and it's just funny to see that VeVe was just completely ahead of the trend and ahead of the curve. So I think as people start to do more research into digital collectibles, I think as the mainstream user starts to do more research on it, because I think a lot of people on Reddit probably are not the type that have those MetaMasks and everything. If they're already kind of against NFTs to begin with, they'll start to kind of look for mainstream projects. And of course, they should happen to fall upon VeVe and realize that you can use fiat onboarding, that you can enjoy these collectibles and stuff without kind of all the headaches that come alongside with crypto. And it should just be interesting to see how it kind of affects the overall landscape as this transition continues.
It feels like they tricked them. Feels like they tricked them into liking NFTs, and I like
it. They did. I wish I could say it was difficult to trick people on Reddit, but I mean, if you look at the Wall Street Bets Discord, it's not super difficult. So,
nice.
yeah,
I think it's very bullish for NFTs overall. It's a way to get into mass adoption, let people understand what NFTs are, even if they weren't willing to understand. Now they have one, and they're like, oh, I have an NFT? This ain't so bad after all. Shout out to Huang Vu in the chat, got a secret rare today. Shout out to Mustafa Mahmoud, got an ultra rare. Congratulations, you guys. I still got one more pending over here. I almost just sniped if you guys were watching. Serial number 4444 at floor price, but I wasn't quite quick enough. So close. Let's see if my other delivery's here. It was.
I want to see if mine came in. Like, at least give me something good.
Yeah, hopefully you got an ultra rare or a secret rare.
For losing one edition. It's a common.
It's a common gang. Yeah, that happens.
Jeez. Guess I'm gonna have to grease the wheel a little bit more these days. I guess I've been falling off. I haven't been good enough to VeVe, I guess, for them to look out for me for that secret, content creator whitelist that everyone knows about.
Content creator gate, influencer gate. That's what they call it. Every time I get a secret rare, they say influencer gate in the chat. Like, hey, it is what it is.
Oh man, I used to remember that conspiracy. I don't remember if you remember Johnny Dunn when he used to go for drops. That guy was an absolute legend and used to land everything. Like, his click was just like, it was godlike.
Yeah,
and then you just see people being like, oh, like, blah blah blah, like he's getting paid off or whatever, and it was so funny. You'd just be talking to the guy and you'd be like, yeah, like, VeVe, a multi-million-dollar company, is going to risk their entire user base and platform to give one guy a collectible. Sure, guys, that makes a lot of sense. Like, whatever. So,
and also, it's just so hard to code that in there to give.
Well, and that's it as well. Like, they can't even get a functioning search bar. But yeah, they have a way to like code so that specific people get access to it, and no one that parses through the data has found it yet. I'm sure that's a thing.
Yeah.
In your chat, McGilla Gorilla, which also awesome name, by the way.
Yep.
Just saying. Asked if I'm still bullish on Ecomi. So I think it's a good question. I don't know, and I know that you mentioned this before we went live. I think obviously, as your name implies, you focus primarily on VeVe, on the collectibles. A lot of very helpful tips and trips for the community on how to select, how to secure drops and how to go for things. Even that Palm NFT thing. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention, because I would have been sitting there like a noob refreshing the entire webpage. So shout out to you for finding that. But I definitely focus on Omi. That's what really my channel is predicated upon. I know it sounds like a conflict because I have a bunch of VeVe stuff in the background. I'm wearing a VeVe shirt, but realistically, my long-term play and what I'm bullish on is the Omi token. I don't know that I've said it publicly recently because I've kind of kept it a little bit low-key, but I'm over 40 million Omi now, so I've definitely increased my holdings quite substantially over the last 6 months or so. I've seen this come and go once last year in June when we went down to 0.0011, and I would hate to miss out on that opportunity again this year, seeing these same prices again. I rode it from 0.0011 all the way up to 0.008 last year, and then all the way back down and didn't sell a single thing. And, I think it's important for people to recognize, for people that maybe don't know a ton about Omi, there's really no reason for Omi to be valuable right now. It has no utility. And what I mean by utility is real utility. It's great that, shout out to Curtis and Canon Crisis for burning some Omi and everything that he does for the community. But when we're talking about utility, I mean like burns from every single drop, from every single purchase that's taking place in the marketplace. So these types of things just haven't rolled out yet. And I think that once they do, and once we see the Omi utility program come out and we really start to see some value in holding the Omi token, I've really realized over time that people are very short-sighted when it comes to making decisions. And I could tell someone that in 2 years, Omi could be worth several cents, and people won't believe it until they see it. So they won't invest in Omi right now because they're impatient and they don't want to wait for the couple years to happen. They would rather just go with what's popular right now or what's hitting off right now. And we see it all the time in crypto, especially because people just want that instant money. They want the instant gratification. They want the Shiba Inus. They want the Doge coins. They want the things that are just going to absolutely take off. And that's how people end up just losing money, because they get left holding the bag. And I think one of the best things about OMI as a token, and what makes me bullish on it, is that I don't need you to buy OMI. I don't need anyone in this chat to buy OMI in order for my OMI to become more valuable. I need people to buy VeVe collectibles. And it's people like you, VeVe Vault, who are getting the word out to all of your subscribers and everyone in the fam that, you know, VeVe is a good platform, that it's not a rug pull, that there is value to these collectibles long term. It's the mainstream macroeconomic factors of recovering, you know, through geopolitical issues, through, you know, getting people in positions of power that are crypto friendly, such as the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and just all of these things kind of culminating and coming together, Bitcoin getting more mainstream adoption. And then as digital collectibles start to become more popular with the inception of Reddit NFTs and other projects that are also doing digital collectibles, your Palm NFTs, your HROs, your Quids, and whatever, it's really just going to bring more eyeballs into the space, which is going to get more money put into VeVe, which in turn is going to burn more OMI. And that's what's going to make OMI more valuable at the end of the day. It's not going to be just because a ton of people buy OMI and then, you know, you tell 3 friends to buy OMI and then they tell 3 friends to buy OMI, and then it becomes kind of almost like a pyramid scheme. It's, well, no, you're going to buy VeVe collectibles, and when VeVe has 50 million users, we're burning a crap ton of OMI. And when we burn all of that OMI, the correlation will be that it becomes more valuable because of everything that is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that whenever the OUP, the OMI utility program starts, and you start to get benefits that are that help you with your collectibles, whether it's getting the drops, or you're able to rent out your collectibles, or you're able to show your serial numbers because you're in the OMI utility program, then that's going to make OMI more valuable as well. And the people that are most likely to buy OMI are VeVe users, and they're the ones that's going to profit from it. So they're going to see that. They're going to, price will go up, I would think.
Well, for sure. And especially when you have that link directly on the platform, you know, if you're able to purchase OMI directly in the web app at some point, eventually, you'll be able to essentially do that for staking purposes, or you'll be able to do that in order to buy a collectible. Presumably, OMI to NFT will be available as well, as we do know already. So if OMI to NFT is available, and let's say there's an arbitrage opportunity where you can use gems because a collectible is listed in gems, or you can use OMI, but there's a 10 to 20% discount for the price that it's listed in OMI. Right. You could then market buy OMI using your credit card on the web platform, one click facilitate that purchase, and then save yourself 10% on the value of that, right? Just doing that. And then in turn, there may also be a burn associated with that purchase, whether it be from the buyer or the seller or both. We have absolutely no idea, but I imagine that there will be a mechanism in place to burn OMI. So I think that once all these features start to come together, and I think people will start to see, you know, as the project rolls out with more utility, I have a feeling it'll all kind of come together. You know, OUP v0.1 came out, I think, back in February of this year. And when I did my live with Reese on my channel, you know, a lot of great feedback came in from the community about what they wanted to see. Back then, you even needed to stake OMI just to use OMI to NFT in the platform, which was something that, of course, we just didn't want to see. We wanted OMI to NFT to be accessible for everyone because we want OMI to be the primary means of transaction on the platform. That would be like selling, you know, a CryptoPunk and, you know, having the primary means of transaction being fiat and only allowing Ethereum to be used if you're also staking Ethereum. There's just no logic behind it. So, you know, it's important to keep in mind that it could. And a couple other people bringing up, you know, good points in the chat. I think Atem, apologies if I said your name wrong, is one of your moderators in the chat. He says OMI can be several cents, but some fools go on YouTube saying $10. You know, I guess it depends what your time frame is. I don't think any of us will be around for a $10 OMI, but I'm also not going to say that it's never going to happen and that it's impossible. You give anything a couple hundred years, and we'll see what happens, and maybe we'll go from there. But you never know what can happen with that. It's definitely a valid point. And, you know, people bringing up you know, buying Shiba Inu and stuff as well. It's really interesting. I actually know someone that spent $60 on Shiba Inu last year and made $130,000 on it. What? So not to say that you can't make a ton of money off of projects like that. That's not at all what I'm saying. But there's always going to be someone left holding the bag, which is what people need to recognize. And, you know, if you can get in early enough, and I'll give you guys a perfect example. In April of this year, I bought oh my God, what was the name of the token? SafeMoon. I bought SafeMoon. I bought like $200 worth of SafeMoon. and my $200 worth of Safe Moon went up to like $2,400. And I didn't sell a penny of it because I was new to crypto and I was just listening to content creators on YouTube saying, hey, it's going to go to the moon. What is the moon? And so I just kept holding, like not realizing that a 10x is like more than most people will ever hope for in the stock market in their entire lives. Didn't sell any of it. And now I think my $200 for the Safe Moon is worth $40. So, it's just, and a token like that is just never going to recover, right? So it's just really interesting to look at something like that and kind of see the options that are available and whatever. And so, I thought that was interesting. So,
and then Omi Power had a question for you about Omi. What do you think about all the big wallets holding Omi? Let me find out exactly how he worded it. Are you worried about too many big wallets holding Omi at the same time? Thoughts on individuals holding a ton of Omi? Does it raise any red flags for you?
So I mean, anytime that big wallets are holding Omi, it will always raise a red flag in the sense that they have the ability to manipulate or impact the market just through the amount of tokens that they're holding. And I think we saw it a lot last year where the price of the Omi token was being suppressed by a few individuals who were selling the token. And so that can have a big impact on everyone when people are able to get in early. And I think that the biggest difficulty that we struggle with right now is that our liquidity and price action for Omi is so low. So we only have about $300,000 to $400,000 a day in trading volume for the Omi token. And conversely, I'll give you an example. Something like Dogecoin has, $200 million to $300 million a day. And at its peak, it was several billion. Our peak, the highest day that we ever had for Omi token trading volume was $121 million. And that was on April 21st March 21st of 2021. And that was when Omi token was 1.3 cents. So, trading volume does not necessarily directly correlate to positive price action. It can also result in a bunch of people selling as well. But generally, increased trading volume will mean an increase in price because it usually means a bullish catalyst or sentiment has come up and people are trading on that news. So do I think that it's bad that a ton of people are holding the Omi token? Or I shouldn't say a ton. A few people are holding a ton of the Omi token. It really depends on who is holding the Omi token and the purpose as to why they're holding it. I'll give you a perfect example. Someone like Dr. Profit, who probably has quite a few tokens. I'm not concerned about him holding the tokens because I understand his genuine passion for the project. I've had several conversations with him. I know him as a person, and I know, and I can say with certainty that someone like him is not going to dump the token on all of our heads. Similarly to Dan and David, who I've had the opportunity to meet in person now, I've had the opportunity to have dinner with and have conversations with. They haven't even touched their Omi tokens. They haven't actually even converted them from GoChain over to Ethereum. They've still left them on the old chain because they're not using the tokens. So why are they even going to touch them when they have no intention of selling them at any point in the near future? So when I look at that and realize that, even Dan and David alone own 60 billion of the 312 billion that's in circulation, that's 20% that, isn't even being touched and isn't being utilized. It also means that 60 billion is effectively locked up and not available to be purchased by others. So as catalysts start to come into place, if you have people that aren't selling their tokens, you're just drastically reducing the likelihood that other people who would like to buy the token will have the ability to do so, meaning less sellers and more buyers should increase the price to a point where people are finally willing to sell. And I think that this is something that a lot of people I don't think understand. And Andre Jick actually made a fantastic video about it. And I remember when he came out with it, I hopped on FaceTime with him right away. And I'm like, dude, are you telling me that this is what you're telling me? And it was essentially that, the impact of market cap is not linear. And it's also not a direct correlation to the amount of money in a space. And what I mean by that is the market cap is simply calculated by either the last sales price or the average sales price of a token times by the amount of tokens that are available in the circulating supply. So what could happen in theory is, let's say Omi is 0.001, nice round number, and we have 300 billion tokens in circulation. And then out of nowhere, people lock up 100 billion tokens with Omi staking. I don't think it'll be that high, but I'm trying to really emphasize the point. We've now decreased the circulating supply by 33%. But if the next sale takes place at 0.001 after those tokens are locked up, our market cap will decrease by 33% because there's less tokens at the same price. So that's why you'll see scam projects where they'll have a $2 trillion market cap, like Squid Game token. The reason that it hit a $2.2 trillion market cap is that one person went out and bought, tokens at a specific price, which raised the market cap exponentially, but it had nothing to do with the liquidity that was available in the market. There was no actual demand for it at that price, but they were able to manipulate the price from 2.2 trillion to $0, all with one person pulling out a couple $100,000 in liquidity. So once you start to understand those things, you realize that when people say, for OMI to go to $1, you need a $300 billion market cap. Well, once again, you don't need $300 billion of money in the space. What you need is no one to sell the token and the next person to buy the token at $1. And then we automatically have a $300 billion market cap. But conversely, you then need the liquidity at $1 for people to continue to buy and trade at that level for us to maintain at that level. So if one person buys it for $1 and we're at a $300 billion market cap, but then someone lists for a penny and then someone buys at a penny, we just lost 99% of our market cap with one trade. And that's why you see a lot of volatility with tokens like OMI, is the liquidity is not there to hold a specific price point or level. And that's why you see a lot of volatility in them. As we get major exchanges, as we get more utility for the token, we should, at the very least, if we don't see a huge increase in price, we should see more stability at certain price points for the token. And that's one of the things that I love about it the most. And I apologize, I know I'm ranting right now because the OMI token gets me very excited, but I don't know how much of your community, and shout out to all of them that are watching right now, focus on the OMI token and realize, how much value it could bring to the ecosystem moving forward. That as you start to research more of these things and start to talk about them and run the numbers, you realize that after all these catalysts kind of come into place, it's going to be really interesting to see how the OMI token moves and how it goes moving forward.
So this is really good information because I don't talk about OMI tokens very much at all. And people will ask me, do you own OMI? And I'm like, yeah. And they ask me how to buy it. And I tell them, and I know Adam was asking, I think he wanted to ask you as well, where you buy your OMI tokens. I always get mine at Bit4X. I have a video about how I buy mine on Bit4X. Is that where you buy yours as well?
Yeah, so I was buying on Bit4X at the beginning, and then I moved over to Ascendex just because I found their user interface a little bit more friendly. Their trading volume is somewhat relative, so your order should still be able to get filled. But as an example, you can't have Bit4X on your phone. It's a legacy app, and you got to give them a ton of permissions, and it just seemed kind of sketchy. Whereas Ascendex, you can actually just download a mobile app from the App Store. And so I really liked that, and it became a lot more user-friendly for me. So I use Ascendex now, but you can use Ascendex or Bit4X to buy or sell your OMI, and it should work on either. Atem is saying as well, Coinbase Wallet. You can use Coinbase Wallet to purchase OMI as well, but OMI is not listed on Coinbase. It's just similarly to like a MetaMask or a Trust Wallet. It just facilitates the purchase. The issue with buying through wallets like that is that there's generally less liquidity, and there'll be I can't even remember the name of what it's called, but there's basically like a market rate with what you're paying, and it'll generally be higher than what the price of OMI is. So let's say OMI is 0.001, you may be buying it on Coinbase Wallet for 0.0012, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you're actually spending like 10% more, or in effect, you're getting 10% less OMI relative to the amount of money that you're spending. So anytime that you use like a token swap, so like on MetaMask, you can swap like USDT for OMI as an example. I wouldn't do something like that because chances are you're paying more on the spread for your OMI than what you would be doing on an exchange. Yes, an exchange is, thank you, Bravos Assassin, slippage. That's the name of it. It's the slippage. So it's basically, yeah, so that's what you need to be aware of when you're doing something like that. Not to say that you can't do it or shouldn't do it. If you're buying $100 worth, it's probably really not going to break the bank. But if you're someone that's going to be dropping 4, 5, 6 figures on any token, even if it's not OMI, I would probably do it through an exchange where the slippage will be less, and where you're basically getting it filled as a limit buy rather than a market buy. If you're getting it filled as a limit buy, you set the price, and then as it gets sold down into you, you're purchasing that OMI at that price. Whereas if you do a market price of, let's say, $100,000 worth of OMI, you're probably raising the price to 0.002. And you're raising the price 100% of the OMI token right now because there's not enough sell orders in place, and then you're losing out on all of that OMI you could be buying because you're buying it at a higher price. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I don't want to keep you too long. I know I told you I'd only keep you till about 30 minutes after the drop. But before I let you go, I do want to know what your opinion on is on why Ecomi hasn't put Omi on big exchanges yet. It's been a long time. There's got to be a reason.
For sure. Yeah, and anytime it's a Sendex is the name of the exchange. So the reason that I think that we haven't seen some major exchange listings for the Omi token as of yet, and I know people maybe won't be happy to hear this answer, and people kind of look at it as a cop out, and that's perfectly fine. But I think you look at it from a realistic perspective. People complain about whales manipulating the price of the token and whales holding too many tokens. All that getting listed on a major exchange would do right now is provide exit liquidity for people. And you're going to have a ton of people come into the community that are just learning about the Omi token or see a new listing and want to purchase the Omi token that are just going to get absolutely raked over the coals by the impact that being listed on that exchange will have. And the reason that this will happen is because people will purchase the token without utility or for no reason to be able to hold it. The macroeconomic factors don't support a pump in the price currently, but the price will inevitably pump if we were to get listed on Coinbase or Binance or FTX or whatever the case may be. And then all you're doing is providing people with an opportunity to exit out, to dump onto people that are buying at higher prices. And then a bunch of people are just left holding a token that they don't understand. They don't know why it's not going up. And a bunch of people just are left with a negative taste in their mouth. And you really only get one chance to make a good first impression. And right away, you've lost that opportunity for people. So realistically, adding ourselves to a new exchange right now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to see new exchanges right now. I would love for the price to go up, obviously. No one sits here and says, hey, I hope my investment stays down forever. That's exactly what I want. Like that, no logical person ever says that. Right now, the benefit as a contrast is that we're burning more Omi, which is fantastic. But once again, we would like to see major exchanges. But I think the reason Ecomi is holding off, the reason that I think it's smart is wait for a catalyst that is fundamentally sound, that is already going to add value to your project and should pump the price, and then provide people the means for it to increase. So the way that I kind of look at it is similarly to how the Omi token burns on a conveyor belt, like it goes from the reserve to the vault to the burn. Look at it the same way. Provide a product that has value, give people a place to purchase the token that aligns with its value, and then the value increases. So if you give somewhere for the price to increase in value, but you haven't given it a reason to increase, then you're kind of going about it the wrong way, right? Like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like build the platform out for people to want to use it. Similarly, because people will ask me as well, and you may have some thoughts about this as well, Chris, is people will ask me, well, why isn't VeVe doing any marketing? This is ridiculous. We could have more users. They're not marketing. They're being responsible. It's just a cash grab. They don't focus on it. But what people don't realize is that the platform is not in a position right now to sustain growth. Like realistically, like we don't even have a functioning search bar. We don't have a metaverse. We don't have crypto cash in or cash out. We just got fiat offloading, but now we're having issues with people committing fraud and misusing KYC accounts. Like we're not in a position right now to drop a Pokemon license as an example, which also not a confirmation that we have Pokemon. I have no idea. Right. Very clear about that. But it's just things like this. Like you have to build things, and once you build them, they will come. And I often wonder, like, what's the rush? And people will look at it, and I saw a couple of people mentioning it in your chat as well. Like, oh, well, we got to be careful. Competition is creeping up. Like, look at HRO, look at Quid. And, like, I don't look at any of these as competition. Like, Quid, for the most part, doesn't even do NFTs. They don't do NFTs for Marvel and things like that. VeVe does those specifically. Quid is cool for what it is if you want digital stickers and stuff, which that's not to throw shade at Quid. Like, they're cool for what they are, but they're not premium licensed digital collectibles. So if that's what you're into, you go to Quid. HRO, obviously big on DC. They just opened up a couple other countries the other day. Not sure if you saw that announcement, but I never checked them out because they weren't available anywhere but the US and the UK, and I live in Canada. So now I'm so far behind the 8 ball on HRO, I'm never going to hit a leaderboard. I don't have enough money to spend on them, and I'd rather spend the money on VeVe. So I'm not going to go to HRO. There was a lot of mania surrounding HRO when you can go buy the physical cards, but now even that's kind of faded. People aren't really doing that as much anymore. Bat cows, I'd say, are doing strong, but it's not the same business model as VeVe. You can only have 11,500 roughly bat cowls that you'll ever have access to. So it's kind of going to be more like a Bored Ape vibe where only so many people are going to be able to join the community, and it almost stunts their growth. Obviously, they're branching into comics right now with DC. I think that they'll do well on that. They don't have AR functions. You have to go to another platform to actually read the comics that you own. So to me, it's not really any different than Marvel Unlimited, where you can just open up a comic and read it. I don't know how the ownership capability or function is going to play into it. Once they have interoperability, I'm sure it'll do better. But I think VeVe is kind of like, people look at it as a competition. I just look at it as people bringing more eyeballs to the space. I think it's great if people go check out those projects. I think they should. I've checked them out as well. But realistically, for me, what it's always going to circle back to is VeVe and the value proposition that it offers as a whole, the AR and VR tech that's being released, partnerships with major brands and providers, the in-person events, which the energy is second to none. Have you actually been to an in-person event yet, Chris?
No, DCon coming up will be my first time.
Awesome, man. And yeah, I'll see you there. I'm going to be going as well. I'm going to be bringing the wife, and I think it's going to be a really great opportunity. For those of you guys that don't know that are watching right now, they're going to be unveiling the VeVeverse for the first time. So that's going to be really exciting. I think there's going to be a lot of hype around that. And I'm optimistic that people are going to be pleasantly surprised with what they see. So we'll have to see how that all rolls out. And it's exciting times to be in the space right now. I do still think that we're early, and I know people hate when I say that because they're like, well, we've been here for 2 years. How long can you be early for? Well, you can be early until such a time that you don't recognize people's names in the chat anymore. There's too many people here to be able to keep up with. Like right now we have 214 people watching, which is absolutely incredible. But one day Vault's going to have 2,000 people watching him, 5,000 people watching him, 10,000 people watching him. Like then you're not early. You know what I mean? Like when you have more people watching one person stream than we had users in the first year, you're no longer early. Right now, we have 6,000 core users, give or take. Core user being defined as someone holding 100 collectibles or more. And beyond that, we have another 50 to 100,000 people that have 10 collectibles or more. And then beyond that, it's people that maybe checked out the app that'll never come back, or checked out the app and decided that it wasn't for them right now and will come back at a later time. That to me is not mass adoption. That to me is still early. There's like 50,000 people that hold the OMI token, and I'm sure one person probably has 50 to 100 of those wallets when you look at whales. So, we're still very early, and I'm very excited for what is to transpire and what's to come moving forward. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell everybody now, I mean, whether you got in at Disney Golden Moments or even afterwards, at this point now, you're all OGs. And pretty soon we're going to have another pump, and we're getting a lot of new users, and you're going to be the OGs trying to help them figure out what to buy and, help them figure out how to get the drops, just like you were whenever you first joined the app. Absolutely.
For sure.
All right, man. I don't want to keep you too long, of course. I know your buddy Kurazami in here was talking about the VeVe logos. I know you guys are VeVe logo holders. There's lots of things we didn't get to. If you ever want to come back on the channel again for another stream, let me know for sure, because I know we do still need to talk about VMate and Ecomi Wiki in the future. Maybe we'll have a debate one day once all those updates get there, because Foster is a promoter for Ecomi Wiki, and I'm a promoter for VMate, and I want to say they're competitors, but they kind of do the same thing. So that's definitely some apps that you guys want to get involved in, if they're like resources for you to help keep track of your account value on VeVe, and to keep track of the market as well. I want to thank Foster very, very much for being on the channel with me. I appreciate it a lot. You gave us a lot of great information, not only on your history and your YouTube channel, but also on the OMI token and why people should start getting into it while the prices are low. And that is very helpful, because it's something that I don't mention enough on my channel.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for reaching out to me. Like I said, definitely probably wasn't something that I was expecting to have happen, but I'm honestly really glad that it did. And thank you very much for, like I said, having me, and thank you for everyone in the chat for welcoming me there for the most part. I really appreciate it. I think, it's important to remember that, we're all on this journey together, and we may not always see eye to eye on how we get there, but we're really all looking to go to the same destination. So I think, if we can all get along and support one another through that journey, I think it's going to make it a lot easier. And I definitely look forward to where we end up there in the future. So thank you so much to everyone, and thank you again, Chris.
And thank you guys for being in the chat with us, and for hanging out with us and going for the drop. I mean, everybody is different, so I don't really have the personality of a YouTuber, because I'm a bluntly honest. Honestly, that's what I've been told all my life. I'm bluntly honest. I just tell it how it is, whether you're my buddy or not. If I don't think you're right, then I will tell you. That's just the way it is. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what's nice about having so many different influencers, or I guess content creators in the community, is that you can watch the one that you vibe with, or you can watch them all. And I think it's great that you were able to come on the channel, even though we've had a little bit of beef in the past. And I can't wait to meet you in Anaheim in a couple weeks, and we'll definitely be hanging out, maybe even have a beer together.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, I think, and I will say one last thing, I think a lot gets lost on social media and not to get too much into it, but obviously we had some differences of opinion there at the beginning. But I think it's important for everyone in the chat to recognize like it's very difficult to gauge conversations, especially on on Twitter and things like that. And to understand context, like I made a joke with you yesterday, and kind of to bridge the gap there a little bit, but I purposely put in it like this is meant to be a joke for anyone that because you really don't understand, like you don't get the emphasis of what people are saying, like nice to meet you versus nice to meet you. You know what I mean? Like it sends a completely different message. But when you're on social media, it can be difficult. And like I said, even if you haven't seen eye to eye with people, I mean, even people in this chat, I haven't always seen eye to eye with everyone as well. Sean, for sure. I don't remember why you were blocked, but I'll definitely unblock you, man. Like I said, I only ever block people. And I think this is actually important if you don't mind me taking 1 second to talk about as well. People always go like, oh, he blocked me, he doesn't like me or whatever, or, he's, he can't handle FUD or whatever. If you ever want to talk to me about anything negative to do with the project or something that you're not excited about, I will always 100% entertain that conversation. I have no problem talking about the flaws and faults of VeVe. Just because I don't go out of my way to focus on them doesn't mean that I don't recognize that they're there, and it doesn't mean that I have a problem discussing them. Where I take issue and where I draw the line is where people attack my character and attack who I am as a person. So if you're going to call me a fudder or a fraudster or a moon boy, and that's all that you're ever bringing to the conversation, I'm going to block you because it's not a conversation at that point. Like I don't know what we're expected to as content creators to respond to that as. Like I'm still a person, I still have my own feelings, I still live my own life, and I do this, I talk on people with Twitter all the time, all day for free all the time because I like the conversations and I enjoy them. And some of the best conversations that I do have with people are with people that I don't agree with, and because it gives me a balanced perspective. Someone will say something that they're not happy with, and I'll go, oh, you know what, that's a great point, this is an issue and this needs to be brought up. And then maybe I'll message the team or I'll message people and be like, hey, did you notice this? Is this a thing? Just because I don't tweet out to my followers that, hey, we don't have a search bar yet, doesn't mean that people haven't brought up to the team that we need a search bar. Like we're aware of it. And also remember that if you're having a conversation with me, I've probably had that same conversation 20 to 30 other times. So if I'm being short with you or whatever the case may be, it's not because I don't want to have the conversation. It's not because I don't respect you. It's not because I'm trying to be condescending. I literally have 9,500 people, and of that 9,500 people, I'll get tagged 50 to 100 times a day. So I do my best to keep up with people while balancing my real life kind of commitments as well. So, if you don't like me, you don't have to like me. I'm perfectly fine.
What happened?
If you don't bring anything of value to me, I'm not gonna interact with you.
You froze there for a second, but yeah, absolutely, and we all deal with that. I was called a fudder just today on Twitter, and somebody said something bad about me on Facebook today. So I mean, it's part of the game. If you want to be a content creator, I guess you got to deal with the haters. I don't know why, but for some reason you do. Noah, on your number 186, I would say 500 to 700 gems on that. Congratulations on hitting that on the drop. All right, guys, we got another drop coming up here in a few hours. I'll be live for that as well. Once again, Foster, thanks for being on the channel, and I will see you around on Twitter, my dude.
Good job, man.
Yep, later.